Greetings from the intersection of Center Ridge Road and Wooster Road. Today is Monday, October 14th, 2024. It is 4:34 p.m. Eastern Time and 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Unfortunately, the little raindrops started coming. It's not a downpour, so I'm going to try to manage this walk, but I'm hoping as I walk that the rain stops because it just helps make the footage a little bit clearer. But as long as it stays like this, we should be good. We're at a unique spot where I know you can't see it from here, but if you went on the other end of that would be, you'd sort of be heading into Cleveland and down into like the Rocky River reservation area. But then if you go that way, which is more, I believe that's southbound, that would take you in toward Fairview Park. But the spot that we're in right now is Rocky River. So you have all three of these areas kind of bordering on each other. And as we continue going down Center Ridge Road, you'll actually see when we get to Westgate Mall how, well, no longer the mall, but Westgate, you'll see how that area is actually considered Fairview Park when you look online. So I wanted to start here so I could walk toward that area. Over there across the street is Gormley's. There's also the Irish Barber Kids Cots. I'm going to focus my attention more on the south side of the street because even though there are businesses on the right side of the street, I wanted to walk on this side because as we keep walking, that's where more of the activity is going to be. So right here on the corner is Vitality Bowls, and I know a lot of this stuff has changed from when I was a kid. And I'm sure when previous generations were here, I don't know how well, if I look back on Google Maps as I walk, how well it'll be documented if I wanted to pinpoint and check out the history of Street View. Yeah, because it allows me to go back to August 2011, and there used to be sort of a house building. It didn't have a label on it for where that Vitality Bowls is. Well, let's keep walking a little bit further. Because when I was growing up as a kid, and this would have been in the mid-90s, I always thought of Center Ridge Road as, you've got the three shopping areas. You had a shopping plaza, which would have been coming up here. Then a little bit after that, if you're heading westbound, you had... See, this is a section where even though there's a crosswalk for walking, the cars have the turn signal. So not the best spot to cross. I'm actually probably going to walk once traffic stops. Yeah, and I'll let these cars, because there's cars to my left that's going to go. Once they go, then I'll take my chances. Yeah, I'd much rather cross when those three cars pass than having a stream of 20 cars that were coming toward me. But anyway, when I was a kid, I would always think to myself, that's good, it feels like the rain just stopped so I can take my hood off. You'd have a shopping plaza, then you'd have Westgate Mall, and then after Westgate Mall, you had another shopping plaza. They had the movie theater, Marc's, and other stores. But there's definitely been some changes here since the mid-90s. Over here on our left you see Panera Bread, but if you can see behind Panera Bread, you can tell it's those type of housing units that are new, and there's quite a few of them. But this actually used to be one of the big time shopping plazas. And I'll try to pull that up in a second on Google Maps. You can get a slight perspective of it. Alright, so this is a little bit further down the way. But if you can look at Google Maps there, see how there's that like green and white shopping plaza. I don't recall exactly what it was called. It does have the sign up there, but there was like a Huntington Bank, and eventually became where some businesses were gone. And at this point in Google Maps, and this was back in 2011, they had actually torn down the back part of it. But yeah, if you are familiar with this area back in the day and you're like, hey, I remember that green and white shopping plaza area, Google Maps references it as Rockport Shopping Center present day, but I don't know if that had any significance to what it was back then. So then if you keep on walking here, you do still have some businesses that are up front, like Pita Way, Sage Nails and Spa, Supercuts. It's just that whole, back plaza area is now full of housing units. Trying to remember to take some pictures along the way. What's funny is that it's probably not related at all, but that green awning sort of gives me the vibe of how that old plaza used to be. And then over here you've got some nice pumpkins for the Halloween season. A few more street side stores, like little, not necessarily stores, but businesses. The Little Gym. There's a Piatta Italian street food location over there. And let me make sure I'm panning to the other side here. Back there is a Victoria Nails. If you went that way, you'd be headed toward Lake Erie or Detroit. And then back over here, there's a homemade ice cream shop, Handles, and then a Huntington Bank. Also, the Huntington that used to be here in 2011, and I don't know how long before that, still actually survived the relative vicinity of the location. So that picture I was showing you probably would have been angled like this, where the green and white awnings were on those businesses. And I know, God, I wish I knew more of the businesses back in the day that used to be there. I do recall there was one party supply store that was on the left side toward the back at one point. The reason that's memorable to me is because when I was a kid, we went in there and I was a big WWF fan, now WWE. I still am a wrestling fan. But they had this toy championship belt for a costume, and I thought it was like really cool, so my mom bought that for us. And I used that for years, both just for entertainment purposes and as a toy. And I did wear it for Halloween for one year, and unfortunately, on my way back to the house, I looked down and I was like, wait a minute, where'd my belt go? So it must have fallen off somewhere, and we went out looking for it. My dad went out looking for it the next morning, I think, and no one could just find it, so it was gone. And I always would think back to that even as an adult, like, man, I wish I really liked that thing. It was a toy, but it was I don't know, it was just a keepsake as a kid. So the kid in me, a couple years ago, actually went on eBay, and I was searching for a couple years, and someone relisted like a new version of that belt that they had never opened. So I went ahead and bought it for like $10 or something. I was like, all right, and now I have it back in like a little display area. Now the only structure that sort of survived from that plaza, and that's what I was talking about, how the awning over there, I do wonder now if that construction was intentionally done. Is you see right here where it says Cube Smart. Now this actually was not part of that original green and white plaza. I'm not sure if there was something here way back in the day, but in my era when I was growing up, I remember the construction of when this building was built, and you can probably tell based on the green lines that are on the left there and even the white lines on the right. Like, hey, that kind of looks like a Target building, and that's exactly what it was. This was a Target. So I feel like in the mid-90s, saw when this was constructed, a brand new Target, and I'm sure it did last fairly long. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was open a decade or even longer. But in the grand scheme of things, it didn't last too long because Target actually moved into the new Westgate shopping area. So, relocated. And then this became a Cube Smart. And it looks like the right half of this became a Fitworks. And then you have a Burger King down here. Burger King, I wouldn't be surprised if that is a staple that has just stayed here. You don't really see new Burger Kings going up too often anymore. In fact, most times, at least in the Cleveland area, you see Burger Kings just sitting abandoned. Let me try to check that on Google Maps. July 2011. Yep, sure enough. If I look July 2011, there's the Burger King. And let me scroll to the right. That's where you can see, I guess that was even in 2011, that was already probably gone. The Target. Yeah, the Target wasn't there anymore. But the building in the background of that green and white shopping plaza still was back there. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, so that costume store was back here, but then to the left of this Target, before they tore that section down, there was also I don't know the name of it, but there was a toy store. Wasn't a Toys R Us, but wasn't a KB Toys. I just remember there was a toy store there at one point, and I feel like we may have bought a replacement version of a board game there once, like 13 Dead End Drive, which is my all-time favorite board game. But I could be mistaken on the specific game that I bought. But there definitely was a toy store there. And the reason I'm not highlighting the opposite side of the street so much is, again, because there's some more, I'm not as familiar with the history of that because I never had to deal with anything on that side. But I'll still try to lightly point it out. Like, there's an auto zone over there. Here's a First Federal Lakewood. So now we're at the corner of what I believe to be, what is that letter? I think it's Northview Road. So we'll wait for this light to change. Always have to be cautious of the traffic patterns. There's many traffic areas I'm familiar with, whether it be Lakewood, Cleveland, even some other cities, but This was always an area, you know, mid-90s that my parents drove me. So I never really walked this area, so I don't know the timing of these signals. Got a couple of office buildings here. It says Westgate Towers. Looks like there's an architect's office on the lower level there. And going based off the sign, and by the way, across the street there's a Stadler's Jewelry since 1958. And a little electric transformer area there. But some of the businesses, Thin Print, Community Challenge, Laser Oasis, River Chiropractic, Wish Nails, Schmidt Something, Life Stance Health, Acupuncture, Cafe Aroma and Catering. I wonder if that's their, I'm not sure if that's, I don't think that's the same thing that CSU has downtown, Cafe Aroma. But I don't know, perhaps there's a business office there. There's also some more places back there like Park West. And this, I believe, is the Metro Health Rocky River Medical Offices. Adult care, walk-ins welcome. Doesn't necessarily look like it. It also says move-in ready. Maybe this isn't active. I don't know. Yeah, don't take my word that that's an active place, because even though the sign still says Metro Health, it just doesn't look like it's jumping out at you. But I'll have to do some digging on that. There's a key bank here. King Wah restaurant across the street there. A Dollar Bank and a Chase. And then right here, bang. This is, for anyone who hasn't been here in such a long time, you might be thinking to yourself, like, wait a minute, where's the Westgate Mall? Well, the Westgate Mall is long gone. It was here when I grew up, but it has since been replaced with a big outdoor shopping plaza area. You can see some of the stores highlighted there, like Lowe's, the Target that moved from a couple blocks down, Kohl's, Petco, Books A Million, Marshall's, and Planet Fitness. Now, a fun little, oh, there's also a Sherwin-Williams back there. Fun little trivia thing is that the Lowe's location is actually, to my knowledge, the last remaining remnants of the old Westgate Shopping Mall. It was like the last addition back when the mall was still active. Like they, you know, how they have department stores hanging off of the mall, whether it be Dillard's or Kigby's or those other department stores. They added a Kohl's, and then they tore down the mall, but I'm pretty sure it's the same Kohl's in the same building. I don't think they tore down the Kohl's and rebuilt it. So it's sort of a remnant, but some of the businesses up front here, Starbucks Coffee, Jersey Mike's Subs, Smoothie King, AT&T store. And we're going to try to do a little walk through this plaza. Unfortunately, Google Maps only goes back, I think, to 2011 for this area too. And the mall was gone prior to that. Let me try to find out where the walkway is here. Actually, I'm just going to walk through the AT&T parking lot to start off with. Yeah, if I look on Google Maps, it does go back to 2008, but even in 2008, this all was here. So this is not, like, I call it new in my lifetime. See a nice little bike rack there by the AT&T shop. I call it new because it's new relative to when I was a kid, but it's at least been here since 2008, much of these places, and that's, you're getting like 17 years at least. Could have been here before that. Let me try to look online. I did have a Westgate Mall article on Wikipedia up. I was trying to see if it showcased the dates. Well, let me cross the street here first to get to the other side. Over there you've got a Buffalo Wild Wings. I was there once back when I was still in college, I think. So that was like 14 years ago. And that was for a fantasy football draft that I was conducting at the time. The person I was doing it with held it there. There's also Sleep Outfitters, T-Mobile, Bibby Bop, Asian Grill. And let me get up on the sidewalk because you walk through the roadways here, it is heavily trafficked, and it's nice to see the sun peeking out a little bit. So let's see here. Dillard's eliminated, apparel in 2004, eventually closed in 2005. Remaining mall stores closed. The new Westgate, dropping the mall, was opened in fall 2007, anchored by Target, Petco, Lowe's, Marshalls, etc. Lowe's remained open during the redevelopment, so yeah, it did remain open. We've got a GameStop here, Kintaro sushi place. So this isn't quite like a Crocker Park. Crocker Park is more pedestrian friendly. This is still more vehicle oriented, but it is kind of unique that it has like these sectioned areas. It's not just one big perimeter of stores. You have a perimeter that's set by like the Target and Lowe's and a few other stores, but otherwise you have these sort of mini strips that go in between with smaller parking lots for each of the stores. Over there's a Padrino's, there's an Applebee's location up front, a Chick-fil-A over there. We'll probably walk a little bit closer to that area later. That would take you to where the Lowe's is located. And then back on the other side, there's a Sally Beauty Supply Shop, Rally House Cleveland. Looks like they have a bunch of merchandise, attire for Cleveland sports, yoga sticks, Pro Shelf, and Books A Million. The reason I wasn't showing some stuff on the left here is you can see a couple of businesses are already gone for lease. I'm not sure how long they've been like that, but you also have a J. Crew factory here, then an Ulta Beauty shop. I was in the Books A Million place one time, and it's pretty cool. I mean, think sort of like a Barnes and Noble. I don't know if that's a chain that has multiple locations or if that is unique to here, because I've only seen or been in this one location. It's probably got more stores, because almost everything in here, if not everything, is a chain store. Again, there's the Lowe's I was referencing. But then here is the Kohl's. And like I was saying, this is the building that stayed open and stayed like this. So you can imagine the Kohl's eventually connected to the mall. So my geography of where exactly the mall is not going to be the best, but I'm going to speculate that maybe like this entrance here jetted out into one of the walkways, either into the mall, and so possibly the mall could have been in this area, as well as some of the other department stores. If you have, let me flip the camera around, if you have a good sort of photographic memory of how you remember the mall being laid out, I sort of do. I have better memories of the Parmatown Mall and its design, and plus it's been so long. I mean, probably like 20 years since I was last in the mall or even more than that. But in my head, I feel like I remember some like tall aesthetic archways leading into the mall itself. Yeah, this is the Kohl's again. I don't think they have any artifacts around Westgate of the old mall. At least I haven't been able to find any. And then back here is the Target that moved from where I showed earlier in the video. And then along the way there you also have a Marshall's, a Famous Footwear, a Petco. Next to Books A Million there's a Planet Fitness. I'd say it probably wasn't a bad decision to close the mall. I mean, you're in an era where malls were dying, and overall, anytime I've come here on a pit stop to make a shopping trip to the Westgate area, all these stores are pretty frequently being visited. Like, I don't see it being Deadsville, so it probably was a good decision. I can't recall when the mall was here if they also had like a little strip of stores, like possibly where that Lowe's is located now. Maybe there was a strip there that had a few shops. I just can't recall that. And like I said, when I wanted to do history research the easy way, which is via Google Maps, that stuff is unavailable. I could do more digging, like go back into the historical records of like blueprints and construction records and parcels and all that jazz. And if I ever did that, that would be something I would write up on like the Polko Traveler website. I started, went down a big rabbit's hole the one time I was trying to find information on the old McDonald's that was located at Triscuit in Cleveland. So I know a lot of that stuff you can obtain the information, but I would just have to do a lot of legwork on that. Oh, by the way, so as soon as I stepped on to the Westgate area from Center Ridge Road, all of this, according to Google Maps and the boundaries, is Fairview Park. Just like this big block, so probably the block meaning like Fairview Park includes this up here, which is Bohlken Park. So Fairview Park is all this, and then all of Westgate, but just the block here protrudes out, and then everything like still to the east of that and the west of that is Rocky River. So it's an interesting delineation. Now I'm not going to walk through all of Bohlken Park here. I just wanted to kind of point out how this was behind it, behind the Westgate Shopping Mall, and this was here back when the mall itself was still active. You've got several baseball fields. I know there's a playground over there. When the pandemic happened, and this was like a full year into the pandemic, I was like, it was the point where people were starting to get a little more courageous about going out, and so to speak. So I actually was trying to find a place that still had basketball nets and rims up, because I think a lot of places took them down. So I actually saw online that this park was still active. So I rode my bike all the way out to Bohlken with a basketball and shopped some hoops there. I had probably like the biggest, fullest beard that I've ever had when I played at that park. Again, it was just solo. I was just shooting around, but that's memorable. It was the only time I ever shot there, to my recollection. I know our parents would take us to this park a little bit when we were kids, at least in this back area, but I don't remember specifics of what we did. There is also Lutheran West field over there. so let's go on back. I'm not going to get there today, but somewhere if you kept on going, I want to say that direction, and it's probably really quick in a car. If you were walking it, it'd be a bit. But there are a lot of pickleball courts. And let me try to look while I'm walking here, since I'm backtracking, let me try to look that up, see exactly how far it is. Let's see here, pickleball. Tri-C Park, 12 sounds like 12 pickleball courts. Yeah, so if I was to walk it, it would be a 45-minute walk, but if you were to drive it in a car, just 7 minutes away. And Tri-City Park is in Rocky River, Ohio. So if you are a pickleball enthusiast and you find the courts to be sparse in Northeast Ohio, which they are, you're slowly seeing some additions, like Lakewood Park, it pointed out, has 4 courts. There are some indoor facilities that are starting to pop up here and there, but to my knowledge, on the far west side of Cleveland, I think that's the biggest location of pickleball courts. Try to grab a picture from here, because this will be nice to show, like, you've got the Kohl's, but then the archway for the Target, and then where the mall may have been in the past. Alright, so now I'm going to walk back this direction and walk alongside the Books A Million. Hopefully the wind is not too loud on the audio here. I was gonna cut over to the next lane, but there was a car sort of slowly lingering in the road behind me. Looks like it turned into a spot, so maybe I'll pop back over that way. And be sure to tell us in the comments section again. I want to reiterate, if you grew up in this area and have memories of when the mall was here, and also when they built this, or what your thoughts are on the shopping plaza. From what I gathered, this was a nationwide thing about certain malls, only some were going to survive, with how trends were changing, a lot of online businesses and all that stuff. Let me think here. Am I going to get a window to cross? These crosswalks are kind of funny. Like, they have a crosswalk thing there, but there's no actual crosswalk to go into it. I think I got a window here. You know what I mean? Like, they have a crosswalk there that goes across, but where is this one supposed to go? There's no markings on the ground for it. But yeah, shopping malls, from what I gathered, basically it sounded like Great Northern Mall won out, and still is one of the existing malls. And you also had Strongsville Mall on the further west side of Cleveland. Those are the 2 remaining malls on the west side. East side malls I'm not so familiar with. I'm wondering if this Books A Million is still even open. Like, the exterior, you can't really tell anything. It's dark. There's like nothing here, although they do have the chairs. The parking lot is practically empty. Well, let's see. Find, save. It says always open. does say store hours. I guess yeah, they're open still. There's a big bookstore presence inside there. Most days open till 8 p.m. Sunday 7 p.m. It just seemed weird how like you see like all the parking lots jam packed, and all of a sudden you get to Books a Million, and it's very sparse on the lot. There's no one at Planet Fitness either. Maybe the Planet Fitness is gone. I don't know. We're in a little bit of bizarro world over here. I do see like some wooden and construction things here, but there are elliptical machines inside. No one's in there though. I don't know if this is a new location. Like, see what I'm talking about? All the boxes and water. Now that says Earth Fair. That makes it sound like a grocery store. Is there a bring your own bag, earn healthy rewards closed? So maybe you have, if I'm guessing, maybe this used to be a grocery store and it's being converted to a Planet Fitness. Again, without me being a regular in these neck of the woods, I don't have the best feedback on recent historical stuff here. So let's keep on walking. Got an Aspen Dental, there's a Lens Crafter to our left. Some form of an urgent care to our right. And then what else do we have here? On our left there is also a place called the Joint Chiropractic. That's a nationwide type of chiropractic place. So let's start heading back towards Center Ridge Road. You have a Charlie's, cheesecake and wings. Not sure what that is because I'm really up close to these places now, but there is Body Tonic and a Great Clips and a Nails and Company. More of your little luxury places for body care over here. Coast Guard Recruiting. And then a Verizon store. So you got all the cell phone stores represented in Westgate. As the sun really comes out bright. So that's a nice contrast from how I've been starting the video to now. Over there on the right you also have the original Pancake House. Little Diggers, but I'm not quite clear if that's open. There's a Pulp Juice and Smoothie Bar, Crumble Cookies. I can tell there's a Five Below store as I'm walking toward Longhorn Steakhouse and the Chick-fil-A. And then also over there is a Five Guys and Fries. And I think that might be it. Let's see if we can diagonal our way back up to the corner. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, I'd always appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe to Poco Traveler. We try to feature a lot of walks around Cleveland, other cities. Also try to do some holiday related content. So this is Center Ridge Road and Wager Road. You can take the 55 bus this way too. It lets you off a little bit down the block. 26A also, I believe, cuts down this direction and heads toward maybe Crocker Park. I think that's where it still goes. Well, now we're going to be in a situation where be careful what you wish for with the sun, because the sun is going to be right in our walking path. But we'll make do with it. You can see there's a Walgreens location on the southwest corner of this intersection. And then we're at another one of those intersections that you have to be careful of. Alright, cars are no longer turning behind us, but you're going to have cars turning in front of me. An option to turn or stay where they're at. So as I'm walking, I'll try to do like I was doing earlier and point the camera toward the left. And that should somewhat negate the sun. Got a Chipotle Mexican grill here. I don't know if you could see earlier, but there is a Red Robin location. Gourmet burgers and brew. Yeah, that sun is pretty bright. I'm like wishing for a cloud to blow over. Like, let's partially block out the sun a little bit. There's also a Panda Express here. A lot of these things too, by the way, are again new in the context of from when I was a kid. Like, I don't believe they had the Red Robin, Panda Express in a lot of these places here that I'm showing. I feel like the right side of the street you're gonna get more consistency on, you know, what was there, might have been there. Carpet and Sales, Zippy Texas, the Firestone. And one place that was definitely here is the Westgate Transit Center in Fairview Park. This is where definitely the 22 and 26 bus go and lay over at. You can see right now there's a 22 and 26 bus that just pulled into the station. And if you want, it's a cold day or I guess even a hot day, you can go inside there and wait for the bus. The buses lay over there, but then both directions, well, the 22 only goes one way. The 26 goes both ways, so you got to make sure you're reading the marker whether it's going to be continuing westbound or going back eastbound. And it looks like also the 25 bus goes here, so I think this is the final stop for the 22 and the 25. Over here is a Savers. That one used to be either an Office Max. No, I don't think it was an Office Max. I think it was an Office Depot. Now it's a Savers location. You got a 22 bus just about to turn in here, as well as another car, so I'm going to let them go ahead and pass. This is one of the double-decker 22 buses, so no more cars are turning behind me, so I'll go out now. Over there on the right side of the street you got a Wendy's. That sounds good right about now. Get a shot of the Westgate Transit Center when they're not facing the sun. And then over here on our left side, you're going to have an Aldi. Strangely enough, the Aldi location in Lakewood, which was like the top grocery store for our family for many years now, the selection in there has been like so sparse. I went in there the other day. My mom was telling me about it, and then when I went in, I was like, "Oh my god! Like, what happened?" Like, she wasn't kidding. I swear the inventory looked like it was like 15% full compared to a packed, 100% inventory store. And she said it's been like that for a couple of months, but this Aldi's probably in better shape. I haven't seen any complaints about this one. Also across the street, you've got some place called Rocky River Brewing Company. And there's also a Raising Cane's location here. And with a lot of these lots that people turn in and out of, I'm gonna wait for traffic to kind of pass before I venture out. That car will turn in and probably have both cars turning in. Boy, this intersection here is no joke. I was like waiting there for another 2 minutes, just watching cars file in and out. I finally caught a little bit of a break. And then you also, after the Raising Cane's on the right end over there, you have Arby's. So a good mix of fast food locations. I'm guessing that the McDonald's, that's a place where we did go a lot of times. For some reason it would be like, let's go to the Center Ridge McDonald's, and then occasionally, they may burn the fries one time, and then out of spite we don't go back there for a while. But the Center Ridge McDonald's, which would be the next shopping plaza that we approach, that was another frequent visit for us. And again, since we've got that sun in the way, I'll aim the camera to the right side. There's even more banks. Citizens Bank, Bank of America. I'm not sure if I'll walk down that far, but I know after the plaza sometime or somewhere there's a Ohio Savings Bank as well. Let's see if we have a name for this plaza that I can reference. Westwood Shopping Plaza. Now this one is preserved. Some of the businesses may have changed over time, but it's definitely preserved in time as far as the architecture goes. Got a great Greek Mediterranean grill, a GNC, Bank of America, Malley's chocolates. Let's see if I can get in the way of this tree so it's not blinding me. Yeah, there we go. I got it right in the spot where that tiny bit of that tree there is blocking the way, so I can actually show it. And yeah, you can see up there the sign says Westwood Town Center. And that's another thing, right there, that clock up there. I always remembered that as a kid, seeing that clock tower. So you got the Malley's right there, and that in and out of the parking lot is a little bit backed up, so there's no sidewalk, so I'm going to walk this way instead. There's an Old Carolina barbecue company next to the Malley's here. Over there, forgive the sun in the way, but that's where the McDonald's is located. There's also a Dairy Queen next to that. Old Carolina Barbecue Company still advertising pulled pork, fresh cut ribs, There's also a FedEx office here. Don't want to necessarily walk on top of these stores because I want to show some degree of perspective. So let's see if I'm able to do that and avoid traffic as I'm walking. And there you go, you get to see more of the architecture. Oh, a soup salad. Oh, no, that says for lease. There's a Dollar Tree here. I didn't know there was a Dollar Tree here. And then also a Spirit Halloween. I wonder if that's where the famous footwear used to be. Or maybe the famous footwear is still here somewhere. But I don't see it at the moment. We've also got a Subway, H&R Block. Quest Diagnostics, Barris Optical, Skin Deep, Mega Tanning, Hallmark. I think I remember the Hallmark being here forever. From the distance you can see the Marc's location and the Home Depot. So this is one where I feel like I could have been dropped in time from the 90s and feel like, oh yeah, I pretty much see the same thing. Alright, we've got a couple cars backing out here, so let me pivot around that. Float Spa, Omaha Steaks, Envy Salon, and the Third Federal Savings. And here's your AMC Theater. I'm sure a lot of them had a similar look to them. And by that I mean, if you look at the Ridge Park Square AMC, I think it's an AMC theater. It's got like the same thing. We've got the walkway up front, and then you walk into it a little bit before you actually get to the entrance. And then the Marc's Shopping Plaza, or not Shopping Plaza, the Marc's store, selling their pumpkins. And then, like I said, lastly, you've got the Home Depot on the far end. Here's something a little peculiar. Why are there a few green parking spaces in like a certain part? Like it initially, if it was closer to the Dollar Tree, I would say like, oh, maybe it's some weird Dollar Tree theme, but it's only on this end, and these ones are more faded. Like you could tell it was like that originally. And that's another more peculiar thing. It's almost like they did this, repaved that area, and still chose to make it green because that's much brighter on the color. So the reasoning for that I can't explain. Now obviously, like all McDonald's locations, they've been modernized to the look that you're going to see at probably 90% or more of the McDonald's spots, which it's okay, it's fine, it's nothing wrong with it. But I still preferred the unique look of the buildings where it had the French fry rooftops and that style of building. Let me try to get over here before traffic comes. Now, one thing I wouldn't be surprised is probably the same as the, again, not this, but the actual McDonald's sign that's right here is probably original. For memory's sake, let's try to get a picture here. Yeah, like I said, many memories at this particular McDonald's location. See, and you know, there were, when I was talking about like in spite moments at certain McDonald's, there'd be certain things where like maybe the fries came out burned, so our mom would go in and ask for like a remake, and then the manager might have given some type of like or some type of like thing, and then that would lead to the like, all right, we're not going back to that one for a bit, we'll pick a different McDonald's to start going to. Press the button here to cross. And I guess so I don't feel like I leave something out, we'll cover a teeny tiny bit of this last, I want to say, block or two. There's the Taco Bell location. Because this last stretch is sort of what I had in my kid from where I started the video to the end of this block of, like, I don't know, I used to think of it as like, oh, Center Ridge. If someone mentioned Center Ridge, I would be like, that's what was in my mind. Even though I know full well now that Center Ridge Road runs all the way out to like Westlake, and even further than that. So it's a really, really long road. So you can't just say Center Ridge to someone. But that's why I chose to do this particular video here, encompassing this stretch that I'm going on. Over there in that plaza, which looks like it's called River Plaza, unless I'm reading the cursive wrong. You've got a few small places, then there's a Firehouse Subs, Office Max, Arita's, some type of food shop. I can't quite make out the lettering. And then the office, I forgot, yeah, I think I mentioned the Office Max. And then down at the very end, you've got the Giant Eagle grocery store. So the grocery store anchors are either Marc's or Giant Eagle over here. Right here on our left, there's a place called The Woods Restaurant and Lounge. This place looks like it's been here for forever. One of those places I don't actually remember in my mind. Oh, a honey baked ham. How many times have I heard of a honey baked ham? Like, I've seen gift cards or various other things to it, but I've never seen a location physically in person, so I didn't even know there was one here. I know we drove past or to this spot, like again, the border when I was a kid, but for some reason another thing that escapes me, and clearly it's not something new. I mean, I don't think they would have suddenly made this, but I have no recollection in my mind of this nice little water area with the fountain in the middle. I don't even know what that is back there. Is that like a... The archway in the front almost has the vibes of a hotel. Oh no, maybe it's a nursing home. It says Welsh Home Rehabilitation and Nursing. Yeah, I remembered this building here where, well, I guess they've changed the branding now. I thought last time I was near a Cleveland one, it still said Ohio Savings Bank. But you can see Flag Star on the front. I know there's a Flag Star branch like inside there in the office building. There's an ATM over there. But yeah, I remember this and that plaza and everything that I was talking about earlier. I just don't remember this stretch from the Welsh to where that restaurant was. So this is at the corner of Center Ridge Road and Spencer Road. And I know this may seem like an odd place to end the video, but I think we just start going into more residential stuff. So that's where I'm going to end up ending this video. If you enjoyed this little stroll down Center Ridge Road near the Westgate Mall and trying to delve into a little bit of the history on the border of Rocky River, Fairview Park, and a little bit close to Cleveland when we started the video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in.